So after you're done with that and you want to get the estimates of this plan. So in order to do so, I can go over here. I think the file's a bit too heavy and that's why it's taking so long to respond. So we'll just have to wait for it to enter the command. So let's go over to the Sophistic tab and open up the visibility and uncheck the set solid box and OK. Now this makes the plan a bit lighter and the commands take a bit less time to be accepted. Alright, and then from down here I'll click on this option and select the course so that I can get this as light as I possibly can. Alright, now it's just a bit better. So now we'll go over to the schedule option and select the shape image option. Then press OK on this window. After that, I'll just wait for the command to load up. Alright, and now that it's been confirmed, we can go over to the View tab. So now, firstly, we'll want to estimate the columns and the beams and such. So if you've noticed, when you put the beams on the columns, a parameter called estimated reinforcement volume gets added under the structural section. Now using this, we can get the pure rebar volume. So select the schedule, and for the first part, select the structural columns from the menu. Now we can give it a name from up here, and we can put it under the schedule built-in components type. Then I'll press OK, and now we'll have to select the parameters that we want to choose from a column. For example, I'll select the type parameter, then the volume, and add it over here. After that, we'll add the length as well, and then the estimated reinforcement volume. Alright, now let's see what else we have. And we have another type field here, which gets us to 2 types overall. So I'll add that as well, so we'll get to know what each one is about. So we don't have the level field, but we do have the reference level somewhere around here. I can't really find it. For now, add the column location mark. Then we'll add the B and H as well, which are the dimensions. First, we'll have to combine them and name them, for example, column dimensions. Alright, then add B and H to it, delete the suffixes, and just put an X over here. Alright, and then we can specify the dimensions if you want to in this field as well, but I'll just leave them to be for now. After that, hit OK to close this. And let's see what kind of schedule we'll get. Alright, so we have the C1 type over here. We have the column location mark over here, and then the type here. Let's get rid of the type for now because we already have the column dimensions. I'll select it to the menu and move it up, and then let's just see what else we have. We have the top level and then the model, and in the B we have the base level. I'll add the base level and then OK, and there we go. So now we can go over to the sorting tab and we'll divide these based on the base level and check the blank line box, and then just like this, it separates each one of them in each level. And the ones that we have like these, the boxes that are empty, it means we haven't assigned anything to them yet. So for example, let's select this one and see what it is. We'll go over to the 3D view. I think this is actually about the retaining structure. So I'll get a WT here and then select these two and put them together. Then select this, go over to the view tab again and select tile views this time. And then zoom out here to see what we have in this part of the plan. And yes, It's actually the beams that we have right here in this part. So now we'll go over to the View tab, but this time we'll select the Tab Views option. Alright, and then zoom in here to get a better look at these. Alright, and then in the schedule that we have here, for the ones that are empty and we haven't assigned anything to them yet, the ones where the type box is empty, we'll just check to see if they're okay. And then we have these over here in the dimensions of the columns. Alright, so now we'll go over to the filter section and open it up. Alright, put this based on type and then select has a value. So this deletes the ones that don't actually have any assigned values to them, and this is what it turns out like. So now let's go back to the sorting tab. Here we'll put this on type, so this separates all the different types that we have in the same level. Then uncheck this box, but check it over here. Okay, and now all of the different types have been divided in each level. So we can also do this for all of the levels together by adding the count here, and then we'll move it up and then hit OK. And this is what it looks like. Alright, so now we'll go over to the Formatting tab, select the estimated reinforcement value and put this on Calculate Totals. Then Lens, Calculate Total, and then the same for the volume as well. Then do the same for count as well, and we'll just leave the rest of them to be okay. And then we have the total of each one on the side as well. So now let me just move the length up in the schedule fields, and then from down here I'll select the add calculated value and name it concrete net weight. Excuse me, concrete net volume. Alright, and after we've done that, we'll check the formula box, and the discipline is going to be on structural, and the type is going to be, go back and change the discipline to common, and then we go back to the type and select volume this time. Then for the formula, we'll select the volume from the menu, and then we're going to subtract the estimate reinforcement volume from that, and then hit OK. Now let's go back over to the formatting, and then I'll put this on Calculate Totals. So over here under this bracket, we have the concrete net volume, then we have the rebar in the middle, and then the total volume on the left of it. So for this one, 4.35 will be subtracted by this, and then we get 3.91. And we also have the total net volume down here. This can be extremely helpful to us. Now we can go over to the Sorting tab and go over to the Formatting, select all of the fields here and put these under horizontal and center. Now I can select each one of these and turn them into Persian as well. For example, for the first one, there's the translation. Alright, and then for the base level, we'll select it and then translate it to this. Alright, and then after that, the next field is count. So select that, and there we go. Then we have the column location mark, which turns out like this. After that, we have the length, which is pretty simple. Alright, then the volume, and then finally the estimated reinforcement volume. Alright, after doing these, I'll just press OK. Now you can see the change that we've made in the naming of the fields. Now I can change the name of the schedule itself as well by selecting it and then rename it to this. Alright, so then after renaming it, we can select it, and then from the File tab, select the shading option, and then we'll have to choose the color from the window that pops up. For example, we'll just go with gray for now. Alright, then press OK, and then we'll go over to the font. This is fine for now. We'll just change the size of it to 8, then OK. Let me just select it and change the size to 6. Alright, and let me just scroll up. Alright, it's a good thing that this happened. So in the newer versions, when we scroll down the menu, we don't actually see the fields that specify the values. But if you select the freeze header option, then you can see them from anywhere. So now I'll go over to the appearance tab and explain the rest.